Hey, what's up everyone? In this video we're going to create a moving platform, and this platform, what it actually does is it actually makes the character controller that jumps onto this platform, it'll make this character become a child object of this platform, so that way the character can actually move on this platform and the platform will move and take this character with it without the character falling off. Or without the platform looking like it's just sliding out from underneath of the character. And then when he steps off of the platform, he's his own game object again. He's not parented to anything. Yeah, and that's essentially how this works. So let's go ahead and get started. We are using the third person character scene from Sample Assets Beta. Let's set this up from scratch. So I'll go ahead and delete this platform. I will delete the moving platforms prefab that I made, and I'll set this third person character back up where he started so that it looks the same thing. It looks the same for you as it does for me. The next thing I want to do is I just kind of duplicated this and flipped it around a little bit, 180 degrees. Move it right about there, and that's how I created that little that other end, the landing end for where the platform is going to be moving between. And what I'm actually using for the platform model is in the prototyping folder. There's the prefabs. We can just take platform 8x1x8. Go ahead and bring that into our scene and change the rotation back to 0. Actually over here, and then I'll move this over a little bit. Kind of set this up properly, and I'll round these numbers. So -14, 4, and 18. So this will be our moving platform. We'll just go ahead and rename this. And then one of the things that we're going to need to do is create a start position for this platform and an end position. So basically we need to reference two positions. So first I'm going to create an empty game object, and I'll set its transform position to 0, 0, 0. And this will be, I guess, we'll just call this platform manager, and we'll put our moving platform, we'll make it a child of the platform manager. Now we can actually go ahead and duplicate our moving platform, and I'm going to rename this to position 1. And this is what I'm going to use to reference where the platform should be moving if it's moving to the first position. And then I'll duplicate it and call it position 2. So position 2 is going to be the other location. Also, what I want to do is I want to turn off the mesh render, and I want to turn off the box colliders for these two position objects. The only thing we're using is we just want to reference them for their transform positions, so we can actually remove the mesh render if we want to. I'm going to keep the box collider on it. I just turned it off just so I could kind of still see where that position is. So then if we actually move this platform up, we'll see there's nothing there, nothing for the character to actually interact with. And yeah, so now what we want to do is we want to start creating our scripts. So if I go to the sample, let's go back to the scenes folder. I'm just going to delete the two scripts that I have, and we'll go ahead and we'll write those in just a moment. Go ahead and create a new C# script, and we'll call this moving platforms. And then we can open it up. and we'll start writing our code. So we set up most of the basic game objects that we need to make the script work. Now we're going to set up the variables and actually write the script, and we'll get it working. So we'll do public variable, transform, and we'll call this one moving platform. And this will hold the transform that for the moving platform. And then we also want to do the same thing for position 1 and position 2. And I'll explain more as we start to get the script up and running. Then I'll go ahead and copy that. I'll just change that to position 2. So far I have 3 public variables. They're all transforms. One is for the platform, and the other 2 is position 1 and position 2. So we can tell the platform where it needs to go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a vector3 variable, because we're going to be using lerp to create this moving effect, and essentially what lerp is to move from one position to another over time. So our moving platform is going to be changing its target from position 1 to position 2, and what we want to do is we want to create just a simple vector3 to hold the position. So we'll just call it new position. And we'll see what this means in a moment if it's not making 100% sense right now. And we're going to be using a state machine that we create to kind of control this. So what we're going to use to control the state machine is a string, and we'll just call the variable current state. And we can use this to kind of make a string that describes what state we're in. That way it's easy to read in code, and it still works. And it can also be expanded to have more than just these 2 states for these 2 positions. And we might make a video on that in the future, so we'll see. And then we need 2 more variables. One's just going to be called smooth. It'll be a float, and this will be the variable that determines how long it takes to make the platform move from one position to another. And then we're going to create another one, another float, and this one's going to be the reset time. This will tell our script when it needs to reset and start heading to a new position. Alright, so these are essentially our variables. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our lerp line of code. And we're going to actually use a fixed update for that. So I'm changing update to void fixed update. And what this does is it always allows this code to be run at a consistent interval. Whereas if you were using just the normal update function, if your FPS were to drop, this position or this line of code would also run slower. So you don't want this code to run slower, you want it to run at its normal speed. So we're going to use fixed update for that. And in our fixed update, we really just want to set up our lerp, and that's all we're doing. So we're going to take the moving platform dot position, which is the position of our platform, and then we're going to set that to be equal to a vector3 lerp. So vector3 dot lerp, and the way we set up lerp is we're going to take our start position, which is the moving platform's current position, and then do a comma, and then we'll do new position. So that'll be the target position that it needs to move to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say smooth. We're going to use our smooth variable, and we're going to multiply that by time.delta time. So essentially what we're doing here is we're taking our moving platform's position and we're saying use vector 3 lerp, and what that is that it's going to take its current position and it's going to target the new position and it's going to move it there over time multiplied by the smooth, and we could use the smooth variable to kind of make it go faster or slower. And that's essentially the bulk of what we're doing here. Now we just want to create a state machine essentially to manage which state it's in and kind of just feed this new position its new position information every time it needs new position information. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to create a new function called change target, and this will be run every time basically every time we need to reset it. So the first thing we're going to do is essentially we have to have at least two states. We have to have a moving to position 1 state and then a moving to position 2 state. So we'll just start setting up these if statements. So we'll say if the current state is equal to, and since we're using a string, we can actually kind of fully describe what the state is. So we'll just say moving to position 2. And then the other one will be an else if. And we'll say, actually what I'm going to do, just to make it easier, I'm just going to copy this. Say if current state is moving to position 1. And then we want one more else if. And this one will be current state is equal to nothing. So when we start the script, our current state is just going to be empty. We can actually make that a private variable if we want, which we should, but for right now I'm just going to leave it as public so that for debug purposes you can actually really see what's going on in the inspector. So essentially this is what we have. Let's do in startup, we'll call this change target function. So when the script actually is run for the first time, it'll call change target and it'll set its new position so we know where to move the platform to. Now we have a couple more, we basically just need to fill in the actual logic for the state machine now. So yeah, I'm going to change this around a little bit. So the first one is moving to position 1. So if the current state is moving to position 1, let's say we'll change our current state to be equal to moving to position 2. Actually, I don't feel like typing all this right now, so I'm just going to do some copy and paste. And basically what these states are doing is they're just switching it, because this will be, the change target will be run every time you need to change to a new state. So so if the current state is moving to position 1, we're done with that one. Now we want to move to position 2, so let's change our current state to moving to position 2, and we'll also set our new position to be equal to position 2 dot position. And we're essentially going to do the same thing. We're just going to copy this code and we'll paste it right down here. So if our current state is moving to position 2, we're going to say no, we're now moving to position 1, and our new position variable is going to set be set to position1.position. And if we're running this for the first time, so when we first press play, we don't have anything in here. We're going to say our current state is moving to position 2. So we'll just copy this right here and go ahead and paste it. And the last thing we need to do is we just need to have a way for this to be called and auto reset itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the invoke function again. So I'll do a invoke, and then for invoke, so this will happen after change target has executed through its states, and we're gonna call change target again. So we'll call change target, and then what we want to do is we want to use our reset time. So that's the variable that we set up for our inspector, so we can determine how often we want this to reset. And as we go ahead and press play, we'll start to see what all of this looks like. So we'll go ahead and we'll save this. And let's go ahead and add our script to this. It's called moving platforms. And what our moving platforms script is essentially looking for is, one, it's looking for the platform. Then it's looking for position 1 and position 2. And let's go ahead and press play and start to see what this looks like. So right now it's not doing anything. We have our smooth set at 0, so it's not moving at all. So what we need to do is just basically set our smooth to something. Let's just set it to 1. And when we set it to 1, it's basically making it equal to time.delta time. So let's go ahead and press play and see what that looks like. And the reset time is set to 0, so it's just constantly resetting. So let's actually increase the reset time to, let's say, 10 seconds. And then we'll notice that it moves. Its current state is moving to position 2. Once that resets, its current state will be to move to position 1, and we'll see that changes, and then it moves to position 1. And then it's basically going to loop through this every 10 seconds. One of the things we can do, let's change the speed of this a little bit to 0.7, and let's change the reset time to 7 seconds and see what that looks like. That one's a little bit smoother. And then if it resets too quickly, you could just increase the reset time or decrease the reset time however you want. You might want it to be moving every 15 seconds, for example. But yeah, let's go ahead and walk on this and see what this looks like right now. Now we're still going to have to do a little bit more to actually make this work, because we'll notice when this platform actually starts moving, changed it to 15 seconds. Our character is going to fall off of this platform. So what we want to do is we want to create just a simple script that will hold our character onto this platform. So let's do create C# script, and for this one we'll just call it hold character. Then we'll go ahead and we'll open that up. And what we're going to do is we're just going to use OnTriggerEnter and OnTriggerExit to actually determine when a player is standing on this platform and when a player is not standing on this platform. So if all this script really is a couple of functions, so we can delete everything that's in there. And we'll do void OnTriggerEnter. And then we'll say collider, and we'll call that COL. So we'll say when the collider dot on OnTriggerEnter, we're going to take the collider that collides with it. We're going to do transform dot parent is equal to game object dot transform. So essentially what we're saying is when something collides with this moving platform, because this is what we're going to be attaching it to, we'll make that object, we're going to make the moving platform the parent of that object. And then we'll do an OnTriggerExit for the exact opposite. So we'll do void OnTriggerExit. I'm just typing all kinds of crazy stuff. Alright, so we'll do void OnTriggerExit collider, and we'll name it collide, or COL again. And then this time we're just going to reverse it. We'll do collider dot transform dot parent is equal to null. So basically, this is just a simple script that'll say, hey, when something collides with us, we're going to become its parent. And then when something leaves our collider, it doesn't have a parent anymore, so we're going to remove that relationship. And this is just a simple way to do that. So we'll go ahead and save this. And then on our moving platform, the way that I'm going to handle this actually is I'm going to duplicate the moving platform and move that new one to be a child of it. And I'll move it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at that a little closer. Also, I want to take off the mesh render. So I'll just remove that component. And yeah. And then I want to make the box collider a trigger. So right about there, that should do the trick. So now the last thing I need to do is just add this hold character script to this. Let's just call this the character holder. So we're moving the hold character script to the character holder, and then when we press play, let's go ahead and walk up here. We'll see what happens. Go ahead and step on the platform. We'll notice our character becomes a child of this platform, and the platform takes it to the other side. We could step off, and the character is no longer a child of that platform. Also, if we jump up and down on this platform, that allows us, basically every time we exit that collider space is when we're detached from that platform. And essentially that's how you create a moving platform. So we can go in, we could talk about the code a little bit more. I think we really covered everything that we're doing. If we want to, we can add more states to this, and that's something I'll probably do in another video. So we can say this platform moves from here to here to here to here and then back to here, and it'll just keep doing that, or it'll reverse itself and go back the opposite direction. But essentially, yeah, this is really all you kind of need to do. We have a few transforms. All we're doing is essentially making our moving platform move from position 1, which is its current position, to a new position, and then we're using the smooth to kind of decide how often this is, or how fast this is going to move, and then we use invoke in our change target with a reset timer variable to really decide how often we want our change target function to run again and make it choose a new target. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. But this is a pretty simple script. Here's the hold character script again. Yeah, so thanks for watching. We will see you in one of the next videos.